And we're back, and so is baseball. The Mets down in Port St. Lucie getting ready for the 2025 season, looking to make the playoffs in back-to-back years. Not something that the franchise has accomplished all that many times. And looking forward now, that should be the expectations given the financial investment from the team's owner, Steve Cohen. And after a big offseason, getting Juan Soto and adding in other areas, Mets fans are definitely excited. And we're getting closer and closer. Today is February 21st, which means that we are 34 days away from opening day. And of course, that means our number of the day goes to Noah Syndergaard. Syndergaard came over to the Mets in the R.A. Dickey trade that included Travis d'Arnaud. He debuted in the Bigs in 2015 against the Chicago Cubs, as you are seeing here. He was nicknamed Thor quickly for his superhero appearance and the golden locks, and out of the gate lived up to the billing as a frontline starter. He had a 3.24 ERA in his rookie year, striking out 166 batters over 150 innings. He also made starts in the NLDS, NLCS, and the World Series that year, rushing Alex Escobar back on the first pitch in Game 3 of the Fall Classic, saying, "Meet me at 60 feet, 6 inches." He would pitch in 121 total games for the Mets over those 6 seasons. He had 47 wins and a 3.22 ERA. His best year was 2016. It was that same year, if you remember, that he went toe-to-toe with Madison Bumgarner in the one-game National League wild card that the Mets would ultimately lose, thanks to Connor Gillespie and Yuri's Familia. But he didn't just pitch. Syndergaard also hit bombs like this one over his career with the Mets. He had 6 home runs, including 2 in this game here at Dodger Stadium, as he left the yard twice at Chavez Ravine. And wait, hold on. Who is that handsome guy with that baseball right there? Wait a second. Hold on. We gotta go back for a second. Who is that me? It is. There it is. The Noah Syndergaard home run ball from 2016 when he took Kenta Maeda deep twice. And this was that first home run. SMY catching me on there. Shout out to them. Somehow, this ball ended up in my hands, the lone Mets fan in the entire right field pavilion at Dodger Stadium. This one proudly on display in a glass case, but for the purposes of this video, I had to take it out. So like I said, Syndergaard spent 6 seasons with the Mets. He would ultimately get hurt and require Tommy John surgery, rehabbing with the team. He then would decline the Mets qualifying offer and instead signing a deal with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim of Orange County. And his career was never the same. Bounced around the league, including stops in Cleveland and the LA Dodgers. He did not pitch in this most recent MLB season. And for all intents and purposes, like the rest of that Mets promising rotation, it looks like his career might be over due to injury. But some good memories from Noah Syndergaard, no doubt. So that's the Mets countdown to opening day, number 34. So today on the docket, a couple pieces of news. The most important probably thing that we've heard so far is that Clay Holmes potentially being the starter for the Mets on opening day. That, according to Joel Sherman. We'll get a little bit into that, as well as the Grapefruit Opener, which is going to be pretty similar, with Holmes slated to start against the Astros tomorrow afternoon. According to Joel Sherman, the Mets could use Holmes as the opening day starter against the Astros. The Mets had originally planned to use a 6-man rotation, but with the injury to Montas, the Mets could be looking at a 5-man group now. So Sherman goes on to say that the Mets plan as of right now is to use a mix of Kodai Senga, Sean Manaea, and Clay Holmes in that opening 3-game series against Houston. And the reason for that is that the Astros have an extremely right-handed heavy hitting lineup, and they kind of want to spare David Peterson, the southpaw, at least at the beginning of the season, and save him for the next series against the Marlins. So that's where Clay Holmes potentially becoming the opening day starter all comes into this equation. So taking a look at things at least on a micro level, and it's not apples to apples because Clay Holmes, at least for the entirety of his career outside of 4 starts his rookie season, has been a reliever. But last year in 10 relief innings against the Astros, while a member of the Yankees, Holmes threw 10 scoreless innings and didn't give up an extra base hit in 41 plate appearances. So he definitely has some good numbers against the Astros. But the question is, how is that going to translate to being a starter? We already had these questions when we signed him. Now, we know that he has that nasty sinker. That's kind of his bread and butter, playing off his fastball. He gets a lot of ground balls and a lot of ground ball outs, at least with a good infield defense, not something he had behind him with the Yankees. but maybe this year with the Mets. Can he be more than a two-pitch pitcher is the question. Now, we know he's said many times, and Carlos Mendoza and Jeremy Hefner have talked about it here in spring training as well, how he's developing a curveball and developing another breaking ball pitch to try to play off that fastball and play off of that sinker ball. How is he going to get those into his repertoire? What is going to be his go-to pitch, and how does he mix them up? So like Sherman said, the Mets' plan is to use a mix of Kodai Senga, Sean Manaea, and Holmes in that opening series against Houston. And there's a case for the other two guys to be the opening day starter as well. We'll start with Sean Manaea, who came over last year and had a resurgent season with the Mets, reinvigorating his career. He was solid in the first half, but took off after he changed that arm slot angle that he adopted from Chris Sale and was just tremendous down the stretch. Ultimately, whether it's Holmes, Senga, or Manaea getting the opening day nod, while it's a tremendous honor and players take a lot of pride in it, it's probably not going to be the rotation throughout the entire season. There's going to be off days. There's going to be injuries. We're going to see different names and different orders for these starting pitchers all throughout the season. This is just game one of 162, and it's something that we should be celebrating and not all too concerned of exactly who's starting it and how they perform. And the same could be said about our Grapefruit League opener tomorrow. The Mets getting ready to start their season, at least their spring training season, and it could be a foreshadowing of the regular season, because tomorrow Clay Holmes is set to take the mound for the first time in a Mets uniform and as a starting pitcher, and he'll be doing it against the Houston Astros. So a couple things that I am most interested to watch in this tomorrow. How does Clay Holmes look as a starter? And I'm really interested to see what type of pitches that he's using. We know about the fastball. We know about the sinker. I want to see the other pitches that he's been working on and experimenting with. That's what spring training is all about. And I can tell you there's probably no one experimenting more than Clay Holmes is right now, who's trying to transition from the bullpen to the starting rotation. I'd be interested to see if he's going to continue throwing one pitch over and over, or two pitches, and how they play off each other as he tries to develop that repertoire. I'm not concerned about how long he goes in this start. It's his first spring training start. He's probably going to go one, maybe two, just like any other starting pitcher would for their first Grapefruit League game. And then, of course, Juan Soto will be making his Mets debut tomorrow. Yes, that's right. Soto will be hitting in the lineup. I'll be interested to see where exactly that will be. Everything is indicated to this point that he'll likely be hitting second when all things are said and done, behind Francisco Lindor, hitting leadoff. And that probably is where the best fit is for Soto. That's where he was last year, hitting in front of Judge. It is spring training, so we're not going to get a true lineup construction. The rest of that card will be filled out with minor leaguers and camp invites, but I do expect Soto to be hitting second, like he rightfully should be when the regular season comes around. But what do you guys think? Let me know. Who should be the Mets opening day starter? Should it be Clay Holmes, Kodai Senga, or Sean Manaea? Or should the Mets just wait and see how spring training plays out before making a decision? And what are you most looking forward to the Mets spring training opener tomorrow against the Astros? For me, it's Soto, but be sure to leave a comment below and tune in for more coverage of that game tomorrow afternoon. Let's go Mets.